Christmas time, we have to rent a hall for the family. All the kids are like, Eddie! Eddie! And they're like, climbing up the arms. Do the voice of Eddie. So you go, no, I'm not doing it. Like, get off of me, jeez. You guys are smothering me here. And you'd be surprised how 10, 15 munchkins can take you down.
My car broke down, and there was this American guy from Colorado with his kids, and he offered to take me a ride. His kids ended up finding out I did this. They love the show. I had to do voices all the way. They drove me right to the studio. They were so sweet.
That's good.
And so here I am. I'm up in the hills of Jamaica, and I see this kid laughing to Ed in our show, and so I just kind of watched for a second, and he laughed, and then I laughed in my voice. I'm like, oh, that guy's funny, and this kid sort of stops, looks sort of at the TV. I laughed again, and he's like, looks back at me, and I'm like, oh, he's funny, huh? He's like, you sound like Ed, man, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I am Ed.
I met Tom Kenny, the guy who does the voice for SpongeBob SquarePants, and I'm a big fan of his show, so I was trying to get up to him hey Tom, I really like your show, it's really cool. He's like, and somehow I got across that I did Ed and Eddy, and I said, I'm sorry to take up your time, and I walked away. He came chasing after me, he's like, wait, my son is a huge fan of your show. I have to get your autograph, he'll kill me. So I was like, SpongeBob? That's ridiculous. So I wrote an autograph for him, and he wrote an autograph for me.
We've had two kids coming out for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. That was just incredible.
One child's wish was to meet the cast of Ed and Eddy, and that was really cool. He was a totally cool kid.
We would literally shut the doors down to the studio that day, and we would ask them what were their famous favorite foods, and we'd give pizzas, and so we'd fill the place full of balloons, invite everybody down, have only their favorite foods here, and then we just have a party all day long with the kids.
So that's really neat when you can meet someone and they're really excited to meet you, and they kind of look at all of us and they go, yeah, you do, Kevin, yeah, right. And I go, no, dude, I totally do.
And it really makes you feel good. Because up here in Canada, we don't see the show. It's not broadcast here in Canada. And so that we don't get a lot of feedback from our audience who watches the show. And so it's nice when you have that. And it sort of really makes you feel good that, all that slaving away and going crazy and yelling and screaming all day long to make funny cartoons is actually, really kind of working out. It does something to people. Our Ed's process of how we do the show is basically, it mimics how the show looks, which is basically exploiting human error and living within a time that I wasn't able to live within, which was the classic era of cartoons. And we just approached it in a classical sense of handmade, hand-done, hand everything throughout the whole system of the process. The show started off with a brief little premise, maybe a 2-sentence premise of hey, Eddy picks up a marble and has the idea of, selling marbles as miniature jawbreakers to make a ton of money.
And then the premises are given out to individual writers to write a 4-page outline, and that's when the beats are fleshed out and gags are added, and it's more about action. And then we move on to scripts once the outline's been approved, and then the dialogue's added and all the small details that go into the screenplay and the interaction between the characters.
We go from scripts, we go to storyboards, and at the storyboard phase is where everything happens. The interpretation of the script, the spontaneity of what they're happening, the characters doing what they're doing, the interjection of gags, the side threads of things going awry on another level while that premise is still going through. I mean, it's the fun part.
And then when the thumbnails have been presented to Danny, they're presented in front of the whole studio on a huge billboard. And we go through it, and then any gags that don't work are taken out. Any gags that might be better presented earlier on in the episode are moved around. And it's a huge communal process. We all have a say in how an episode turns out, which is really cool.
At that point, that board now goes to our animation directors who time the show, to Korea, who ends up doing layouts, key animation, and coloring, at which point all that raw stock footage is sent back here to where we'll sit in an edit room with an Avid, put it all together. Then it's put out to our incredible sound design guys at DB Sound, and then over to Patrick, who's composer for the show. We mix it down, get it on tape, and it's FedExed over to Atlanta.
And the people at AKA, they put in hours upon hours, and all those guys are unreal talent. I've seen them whip up full mural pictures in 5 minutes, not even, and it's perfect to spec. So I mean, really, everybody on the show is just absolutely wonderful. They're a bunch of geniuses, in my opinion.
I've had Jawbreakers. I think the only reason I chose Jawbreakers because they're the most horrid candy to eat. It's like eating a billiard ball. So it's you end up cramping your jaws, or it's like you popped it in your mouth. You couldn't say anything. And the thing is, you could never finish it, and so you had to store it and carry it around with you all day at school in a paper towel or something in your pocket. And I think that's the reason why I chose it. What's under Double D's hat? What's under Double D's hat, Danny? I'm not telling. That's the question. Chickens. Yeah, that's Ed has a love for chickens. I mean, he just loves chickens. It's kind of funny because I don't know what came first, and it's like you go, oh, what, the chicken or the egg? No, but it's like Scott, who's one of our senior storyboard artists here, has chickens, and so it may have come from that, or he may have fallen in love with chickens based upon Ed. But it was just really weird. It was just sort of a weird thing. And then it all sort of came from a show where Eddie was making omelets and with eggs, and Ed just fell in love with chickens. And we've sort of let him have his day whenever it was made possible to make sure that he got his fill of chickens, Cankers are total. The Cankers were, I don't want to use their names. Debbie and Dolly. Let's just say that. Debbie and Dolly from grade 8, and would always constantly pin me into a corner somewhere. Come on, give me a kiss. Let's neck. That kind of thing. And it's like you just sat there with your hands sweaty, and it's like grade 8. It's a boy in grade 8, for God's sakes, The whole thing about them being inventive and creating these wonderful machineries and gadgets and odd things that they're using within the show, a lot of it comes from Double D, but it also, I play on that only based upon the fact of that, again, it's the imagination of kids trying to get something when they don't have it accessibly available to them. It's like a thing of that, hey man, wouldn't it be really, really cool to drive a race car? Well, you don't have a race car, so you end up building a go-kart. You know what I mean? And so that it's that kind of mentality to it.
Ed would think the game is shiny.
It's kind of surreal to be playing a game that is my life, though, however. It doesn't happen very often, but I'm quite enjoying it.
This game is gonna be totally cool!
Well, we've put a lot of effort into the game to make it as true as possible to the TV show.
This game, I feel, is catered to fans in that there's a lot of subtle nuances and different scenarios that are very character-oriented, as the whole Ed and Eddy series is.
It's broken down into a series of scams and bonus levels where Eddy takes charge of 3 Eds and leads them on a wild adventures leading them astray.
One scam is where Jimmy, we basically kidnap Mr. Yum Yum, his favorite little doll, and we basically say, you know, it's kind of, we hide him and then we say you can't get him back unless, you know, you give us a quarter to get him back.
There's one, I think it starts out where we have to try and get Rolf's meatball making machine so we can grind up the ice to sell snow cones to the kids to get quarters to buy, you know, jawbreakers.
They encounter the same cast of characters that are in the show and stuff. So from what I hear, this is a secret that we enter Cankerland, and that to Ed is not a good thing.
So you can be any one of the Eds at any one time, but then also we have what we call formations, where you actually play as all three Eds at the same time. And so depending on who's at the lead, if it's Eddy, then when you hit the formation button, Ed throws Double D and then Eddy on his shoulders, and they're all like this, balancing, trying to go down the street like that. Then if Double D is the one who's in the lead when you hit the formation button, then we have what we call Trample Ed, where Ed and Eddy throw Double D up in the air, and then if Ed is in the lead, it's like a whip, and he goes flying around, and they're flying around behind him. The animations are just spectacular.
It's essentially the show. That's the coolest thing about it. It is essentially like an episode of the show.
When we're recording the game, I see a lot of the same lines and the characters as the show has. So hopefully, you know, it'll seem like the kids are actually controlling the cartoon.
Even in the aspect of it being so fun and so childlike, that's something that we strive to put into the Ed, and Eddy show, and I think it's coming across quite well in just the different scenarios that have come up in the game.
For me, always working in a 2D world, as much as you're always trying to create a three-dimensional world for television, to actually go roaming and strolling through those corridors and areas and things, I mean, it's just killer. I love it. That's awesome.
It definitely, on a personal level, it turns out 10 times better than what any of us could have predicted, and we really are proud of this game.
I am cool like a cabbage, guys.
No way! It's Blank's turn right now!
That was pure genius!
Eddy, your face is like gross. Are you okay, Ed? Watching them run around so much is making my armpits sweaty. Ed, boys! Help Rolf put the saws back in their sty!
Playing hard to get, huh? Big Ed, come back!
Hey, dork! Say cheese!
Well, the game is about Ed, and Eddy, and it's very true to the cartoon, and it's about these three boys who all have very distinct personalities.
You've got the loudmouth Eddy and showmanship and out there, and it'll, you know, doesn't think before he acts type of scenario, and will do everything once. And if it fails, big deal. If it wins, he's got cash in his pocket.
Eddy is, I think honestly, deep down, he's a good guy. Most people say, meh, but he's just trying to be like his older brother, who he idolizes.
Double D is the neurotic, organized, logical, perfectionist.
Well, they said that he mumbles and he was shy, so I decided that I would
Try and find a very kind of quiet voice and make him very, not quite sure of himself, but very interested in the world. And
Ed, slow, watches the day go by, lives in his own world, creates his own fantasies.
You just gotta love Ed. He's a character after my own heart. You know, he just kind of loves the world and everything in it and everything about it.
And so this game is really about an adventure.
Basically, there's a whole bunch of areas, and you have to scam the kid. There's all these different scams.
All for the elusive and wonderful Jawbreaker. The goal of Ed, and Eddy.
Oh, you're just gonna record me recording?
Yes.
That's funny.
And today, in fact, we're doing the voiceover recording of all the characters with the actual voice actors from the TV show.
It's a lot of work. I was sweating in there.
I'm gonna show you a few people, okay? Okay. This is where the creative engine of the show is, okay? This is Ed, Ed and Eddy Misadventures of, okay? Okay. This is everybody right
Do one more
here.
time, just a little bit more worry
This
off
is
the top.
Terry, our director.
This is
here.
141 take.
137.
Here, let's go in the other room, okay?
Oh,
All right.
dear.
Okay.
Ed, would you care for a glass of cool lemonade?
Okay. Now don't scare him, okay? Because he's very skitterish, okay?
Hi, Doubleday! Hi, buddy. Hi.
Oh, dear. Are we still on 141? Okay, thank you.
Okay, come on.
140.
He can be worrisome at times. He can be worrisome at times. He can be worrisome at times.
Ed?
Eddy!
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Are we rolling? Okay.
I would like to introduce Sam. Everybody, this is Double D, played by
I'm going to say my line now.
Sam Vincent.
Thank
okay?
you.
Okay. and-
All right, here we go.
Go. Okay.
He can be worrisome at times.
Usually I sit down, I have a line, I rest for a while, you know, and then they beat up Tony for a while, they beat up Matt for a while, and then I get up and do a line and I sit down.
Ed!
But it was me doing line after line after line after line.
I don't think that will be necessary, Ed. These laser turrets are much more effective. Whee! Patient said, we'll free you! Nothing like a moment's rest to compose one's thoughts. We can't leave yet. We need to get all the map pieces. Let's see if Jimmy or Johnny can be of assistance.
And I can't breathe and I have to get the water, and Terry, the director's going faster, faster, and all these people staring at me.
Whew! It's a lot harder, believe me. I tell you, but it was fun, and it was worth it.
Sam Vincent is probably the most diverse of the talents. I mean, he's done everything from Baby Looney Tunes to another show I work on called Crypto. He has probably the biggest voice range and very diverse talent and just a really nice guy to work with.
B-5-4-bum! I smell cheese and onion buns.
I get to play Ed. Yep. Pretty much every day, you know.
Please, Sarah, don't tell Mom!
You know, actually, you know what? One of the best things is well, because it's kind of a character after my own heart. But Eddy is always like for 4 hours in a session. Eddy will be screaming his brains out, and Double D will be perturbed and all things. And Ed just laughs his way through it. Then I'll have a bit of a rest. And then I'll laugh again. I'll have a bit of a rest, or I'll say a line like, whoa, chickens. And, everything's just good all the time.
Oh, I know! We can crawl through the stinky sewers like the bacteria-fusing blob in I Was a Teenage Sludge Hippie!
Except for when I get to talk about monsters and that type of thing. Then things get out of control and, Ed becomes the monsters that he's thinking about and describing to the other guys.
A conduit to the 7th level of Hades!
He becomes everything that he is talking about or what he's feeling or what he's thinking. But it just happens to come out in a very simple type of Ed way.
May I have a straw?
That was my Shakespeare one.
Matt Hill is an awesome performer. He's a high energy performer. He's an athlete outside of the show. He's like a triathlete. So he brings that energy to the session. It's a lot of fun.
Come on, start acting. I'm here to make sure you do it right.
Oh, well, that's
Come on,
not gonna help.
Terry, let's get this going. Let's go. Let's roll this stuff. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay, ready?
Come on, let's go.
Okay.
Energy, energy, energy!
Energy! Tell you what, Jimmy boy, I'll help you get your pal back for a Just wait half a second. Oh, the creaky. Tell you what, Jimmy boy, I'll help you get your pal back for a quarter.
More conniving.
Okay.
I'll help you get your pal back for a quarter.
Tell you what, Jimmy boy, I'll help you get your pal back for a quarter.
No. Yeah, do it more like that.
Okay. Tell you what, Jimmy boy, I'll help you get your pal back for a quarter. I think he's on your typical, rabble-rouser kid. He's just bored and trying to make action up for everybody. Right? Hey, Shrimp! Give me that paper! I think a lot of the time it's the fact that I get to kind of spark the situations. Quit your griping! I knew Jimmy would pay top dollar to get that stupid doll back, so I told Ed to hide it in the house. Nice job putting it in the window, big guy. That was pure genius. And he's so high energy. Hey! You owe us a quarter! And he can go from like really low to screaming like a girl fanatically, so he's just all over the place. So there's a lot of things you can do with it, right? How would you know? What's it say? Fine! Miserable little runt.
Tony Sampson's very difficult to work with. No, he's a great guy. Tony is, out of all the characters in the show, the one that's most like their character is Tony Sampson. I mean, Tony can be belligerent in a funny way. He can be as crazy as Eddy. He can be as loud as Eddy. And so I think there's sort of deep inside Tony, there is an Eddy.
Oh, so much. I mean, I even look like him. Hello? Do I not look like Eddy? Like Sam Vincent, he looks like a 32-year-old Double D, right? Matt Hill looks like Ed, except shorter.
When they first started, they were nothing like their characters. And now I could say they're totally like their characters. I can see the characters in them.
I'm a lot like Ed. I love the world and love people, and it's, you know, to me, it's like even if it's raining, it's a good day.
I'd have to say that all three of us have very similar traits to our characters. I mean, I tend to be the guy, even in the studio, tend to be the guy that's, you know,
Let's not break the rules, guys. Let's just try and stay on track here and get the show done.
I don't think it's a conscious thing. I don't think they've done it because it's not like, you know, they live it every day. I think it's just this, I don't know how it's turned. Maybe the show's turned around to be more like them, but they do. They just fit their characters so well.
It was at the end of the day and we all got into our automobiles, right? And of course, Tony plays Eddy. He gets, you know, he got into this kind of like sports car, just like Eddy, right? And then
Ed was getting into like a big kind of truck, and he was driving away in a truck.
And then I got into my economical four-door sedan. I was just,
Ta-ta, everybody. See you later.
you know, like, and Dave's go, look at those guys. They're just like Ed and Eddy. They're all getting in the same kind of cars and driving off.
No, I'm not anywhere near like any of the Eds. I'm a normal human being. I have a life. No, I don't think I'm like any of the Eds. I pray to God that I'm not.
Cankers! My name is Kathleen Barr, and I play Marie Kanker.
We're coming to get you, boyfriends!
My name is Erin Fitzgerald, and I play May Kanker.
These lips were made for smacking.
I'm Shanice, and I play Lee Kanker.
Well, we don't want to give away the ending.
I really like it because it's really neat.
But boys might get chased, and they might get kissed.
I'm going to chase Eddy because he's my favorite.
I'm gonna kiss Eddy.
You gonna kiss Eddy with some ketchup?
The ketchup of love.
The ketchup of love.
Come out, wherever you are.
I love a good chase before the kill.
Hiya, boyfriends. Time for some smooching.
She's very, very talented, very diverse, and one of the few women that can do really believable boys' voices. And so she nails Kevin, you know, I think as a boy.
Yeah, you're nothing like Kevin. You're a girl.
No, I'm not like Kevin. I like to think I'm really super cool at times if I need to be like Kevin, but otherwise I can't find any parallels, honestly.
Well, if it isn't dork, and dorky. Can it, dork? Let's see how cool you really are. Not bad for a bunch of dorks, but the race ain't over yet. Look, a walking zit!
She moved away on us. She moved to Southern California. She comes back up and she does one of the Kanker sisters, and she also does Naz. And I think maybe being in Southern California, that's helped her because Naz is a very carefree spirit, and Erin's kind of going that way.
Yeah, I'm definitely like May. Definitely.
In what way?
I think when I'm at home and I'm like, when I really like something,
I like that very much. Please, can I have some more ice cream?
You know, like that's
I
full
had
on.
no idea.
Yeah, you should ask my husband. Yeah, I think he would
had no
agree.
idea.
And then if I'm like out in public, you know, I pretend that I'm Naz. I'm like, yeah, I'm really cool. Yeah, I put on my shirts. Yeah, I'm really cool, but I'm really not.
Not cool. Eat up, squirrel dudes. You guys are funny. Dude, what's up with that bell?
Shanice Shode is been around for a long time too, and she does one of the cankers, and she also does Sarah. She probably of all the girls has to yell the most, and so she's the trooper when we have to get Sarah to yell.
And when she's nothing like your character. You're not bossy. You're
actors.
Sarah.
Really?
Well, when
You think?
there
Sarah
are
could
little
be your
bits,
inner child, maybe.
you
when
know,
she's
dealing
angry.
with my brothers, right? If they ticked me off.
Oh, that's why it's such a good performance.
Ed! Get the dolls! You'd better not break them, mister! And while you're at it, drop them near Jimmy. It's about time! It's time for dinner! Mom said get moving!
Terry, the director, fabulous.
He's
the best
really
director
funny.
in the
Excellent.
entire
Ever.
universe.
Yeah, he is the best director ever.
He's standing right over your shoulder.
Where is he?
Can you hold the
Is he
cue
in the
card up?
room?
He's
No,
the
he's
best
cute.
director
Ever.
What does that say? Yeah, ever in the universe. That's what it says. The best. No, we really do love Terry.
And he's very good at telling us what to do.
Ow, 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 ouchie, ow, whatever you want. Throw a whole bunch together. That was really good. I really like that. Make the first line bigger and then come down for that last one. That was really cool. This is one of those things, you understand the gravity of the situation. Like, Eddie wouldn't understand this at all. Not too soft on the last part. We're on line 122. Right there. Make it huge.
Watching them run around so much is making my armpits sweaty.
And just make that more of a statement of ha-ha. And just be disgusted on it. Little meaner, a little more enunciated.
Jawbreaker.
Be really brave on it this time. Make it a threat where you go up, you know, you better not. Give me more of a finger wag right off the top.
Check out those skid marks.
Skid marks are not in reference to underwear. It's the new Ed and Eddy joystick. My job as a voice director is to work with Danny Antonucci, who's the creator of the show, and he boards all the show. So we know exactly the timings that we have to get out of the performances. And basically, it's to ensure that the actors stay on character.
The Eds aren't really done like a lot of series are done. And so it was like, I think he was really hip on all this fact of using all these crazy voices and using this crazy dialogue and trying to put this all together and making it work, making it gel into a show.
It's a 301 take.
54.
You have done well, nincompoops. You may now use Rolf's machine.
Danny was looking for somebody that was that could do an accent that sounded Eastern European, but we didn't know where it was from. And so Peter was standing outside in the lobby, and I said, Peter, you got to come and read for this. And Danny Antonucci was in the audition session with us, and he just nailed this wacky voice, which is the Rolf that we know today, and it was just totally out there.
Rolf is so complex that I don't even really know where he's from. We've never really decided that. He's just kind of a weird voice.
You? Lower than a pathetic wee roach, Ed boy? Do not puncture Rolf's pumpernickel.
Weird guy from a weird country with a weird voice and weird everythings.
Ho-ho! Day late and dollar short, Ed boy. You do not know of the bounty? There are free jawbreakers at the candy store.
Whatever the Eds do, you can be guaranteed that Rolf will have some other bizarrely sick and twisted way of doing that thing.
As current champion, it is your rightful duty to ensure that they do not succeed. You have done well, Ed boys, but your real challenge awaits. Best victor in a headbutt and you may continue. Yes, the early gal gets the tripe, no? Go away, you vex Rolf. Hello? Goodbye.
David has this wonderful, quirky sense of humor that just cracks me up all the time. And the way he delivers things are just so far-fetched, so foreign, but they just work and they're funny and they actually add another layer to the character, which is pretty fun.
In his natural voice, it's this little voice, and we don't even have to overly tweak it. I mean, he hams it up a little bit for the show, but it's pretty funny when he comes out as Johnny, and he loves his Plank.
Holy moly, look at Eddie's face, Plank. Plank says you were tricky. All right, I'll give up the valve. Just don't hurt him. No! Plank! They got me, Plank! You got a real sweet tooth, huh, Plank? Plank says bring it on, you sissies!
Danny's nuts, and you're probably going to hear that a lot.
But Danny is he's a dedicated artist, and he tries to bring that to each and every show.
The cool thing about Danny is that he is very specific about what he wants.
He is
He's
such
a
a perfectionist that you just know that no matter what kind of a day it is, he's going to get exactly what he needs for the cartoon.
I don't know the record for any one line as far as takes goes. That probably goes high up there.
Tony had the worst of it one time during a session. I can't remember how many takes we did. It got silly, the amount of takes we did. And it was for just a simple line saying, "Yep, good times."
I think I did 250 takes of the line, "Yep, good times." No kidding, 250 takes. But the thing was, he had it a certain way, and I didn't mind doing it. I'll do it until the cows come home, until he's happy with it, right?
He's like a dad and a best friend and an enemy all in one session, you know, because he won't move on if he doesn't hear the line right in his head.
Which ends up being exactly the right thing, and the kids love the cartoon. They absolutely love the cartoon. So whatever it is that he has in his head for the image of, to get the story across is really speaking to the kids. So I really appreciate that.
But these guys have just pulled it through. They're really done well, and they actually have given the characters heart and soul, which is really hard to do these days in cartoons, We need that. The characters have gone beyond who we are. The characters are these believable, actual, breathable people, and that's a cool thing.
Yes.
Let's do like a Bergman thing.
Yeah, let's-
you hold
yeah,
your
let's-
face like this. I'll hold my face
Yeah.
like this. You gotta hold your face like that.
Let's talk.
So what do you think, Tony?
I just want to say hi to my little nephew Taylor, and I hope you enjoyed the game. Hi, Taylor! Dorks, dorks, dorks!
I love you, Bedway. But now I'm putting on my serious face.
I mean, look! Even the logo rocks!
Look at all the lines I had to do. That's fun.
I would like to say hello to all our fans from around the world in as many ways as I know possible.
It's that. It's almost half through your nose.
Bonjour.
Tag, we're it, Plank.
Guten Tag.
That makes sense. Smell the characters within what she does. Huh? Put that on a t-shirt and sell it, hey?
Stop that boy! You must not sully the circle unless you care to dance with the goat.
Konnichiwa.
It's about time.
Buenos dias.
I can't tell you what I did before I came here.
Stores can be so cruel.
Dorks.
Dorks. Cankers.
Isn't it interesting that you play the bossiest one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's not. She's
Yeah,
not
she's
bossy
not
at all.
bossy at all.
She's the sweetest person.
And then she plays the bossiest characters.
This electronic tool of magic is quite extensive, Ed boys.
I think that's all the languages I know, unfortunately.
Does it say dorks?
Oh, that is so cool.
Dorks.
I could sit there and watch that for hours.
A canoe. I think Ed would really enjoy the company of a canoe.
Can we go record another video game? This is fun.
Thank you for paying attention. Goodbye.
Our audience who watches the show. And so it's nice when you have that. And it sort of really makes you feel good that, all that slaving away and going crazy and yelling and screaming all day long to make funny cartoons is actually, really kind of working out. It does something to people. Ed's process of how we do the show is basically, it mimics how the show looks.
Really, really cool. He was a totally cool kid.
We would literally shut the doors down to the studio that day, and we would, we'd ask them what were their famous, favorite foods, and we'd get, pizzas, and so we'd fill the place full of balloons, invite everybody down, have only their favorite foods here, and then we just have a party all day long with the kids.
So that's really neat when they can see, when you can meet someone and they're really excited to meet you, and they kind of look at all of us and they go, yeah, you do, Kevin, yeah, right. And I go, no, dude, I totally do.
And it really makes you feel good, because up here in Canada, we don't see the show. It's not broadcast here in Canada. And so that we don't get a lot of feedback from...
That's good.
And so here I am. I'm like up in the hills of Jamaica, and I see this kid laughing to Ed in our show, and so I just kind of watched for a second, and he laughed, and then I laughed in my voice. I'm like, oh, that guy's funny, and this kid sort of like stops and looks sort of at the TV. I laughed again, and he's like, looks back at me, and I'm like, oh, he's funny, huh? He's like, you sound like Ed, man, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I am Ed.
I met Tom Kenny, the guy who does the voice for
Christmas time, we have to rent a hall for the family. All the kids are like, Eddy! Eddy! And they're like, climbing up the arms. Do the voice! Do the voice of Eddy! So you go, no, I'm not doing it! Get off of me, jeez! You guys are smothering me here! And you'd be surprised how 10, 15 munchkins can take you down.
My car broke down, and there was this American guy from Colorado with his kids, and he offered to take me a ride. His kids ended up finding out I did this. They love the show. I had to do voices all the way. They drove me right to the studio. They were so sweet.
SpongeBob SquarePants, and I'm a big fan of his show, so I was trying to get up to him, just, hey Tom, I really like your show, it's really cool. He's like, and somehow I got across that I did Ed and Eddy, and I said, I'm sorry to take up your time, and I walked away. He came chasing after me. He's like, wait, my son is a huge fan of your show. I have to get your autograph, he'll kill me. So I was like, SpongeBob? That's ridiculous. So I wrote an autograph for him, and he wrote an autograph for me.
We've had two kids coming up for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. That was just incredible.
One child's wish was to meet the cast of Ed and Eddy, and that was